set your country straight on the pathway to greatness, or it's ended up as a pathway to ruinous, that you've been ruined. Nigeria Naira got destroyed. Nigeria economy got destroyed. Nigerian human rights are tanked, and corruption became the order of the day. So people destroying people, right, nourished and flourished corruption, impunity, right? When they had the chance of implementing what then we believe should have been electoral reform that could clean up the mess in the electoral process in Nigeria, they just they were swimming in that impunity. So when APC, Ebeke came, they came to legalize all the madness. They legalized the election rigging, they legalized their corruption, they legalized the abuse of power, they legalized even terrorism. Unfortunately for Nigeria, you were unable to send them packing. So after taking you 50 years backward, Tifnubu has come to take you maybe 100 years further backward by the time he is done. And the man that made that happen was an observer in Ghana, Olori Bruku Yakubu.
What's your reaction to the Ghana election?
Well, it has been a very interesting election. We came here as part of the ECOWAS network of electoral commissions with colleagues from Sierra Leone and Liberia, and also with colleagues from the Southern African region. And there is even a gracious concession on the part of the other candidate of the main party. So we are grateful that it has gone very well, but the process is still on. The election result has not been officially announced by the Electoral Commission, so we'll go and continuously support our colleague in the Electoral Commission. But we are very happy with this process and outcome.
Are there anything you have observed that you think
there are many things I've observed. The first thing is the political parties. One of the lessons I think from this election for me is the fact that the main opposition candidate was vice president and president of the Republic of Ghana, lost elections on 2 different occasions, is now 3rd time lucky. And the candidate of the ruling party has also been in the same party which has been in and out of power for a long time. Rarely in Ghana do you see people moving from one party to another with every general election. So that is important. It provides stability. It also provides their supporters stability. So that you have people who support political parties for many, many years. So whether the party is in power or in opposition, they stick to the political party. The second thing for me is the lesson that Ghana also learned from Nigeria in the area of managing constituency election results. Until the last election in Ghana, all results come to the EC headquarters in Accra. That is parliamentary and presidential. Although Ghana is not a federal system, but they learn from Nigeria where you have returning officers that announce results for parliamentary elections in the various constituencies around the country. Only the presidential election results come to Accra. So in Nigeria, this is what we have done, and they borrowed a leaf from us, and this is the second time they're implementing that. That's why, as you can see, the declaration of the presidential election result was a lot faster than it used to be in the past.
Abawiri, Marafoka. Yakubu said that Ghana learned something from them. That is, they announced the results of the parliamentary, seats from the constituencies, while the presidential election result is announced in Accra. And that's something they learned from Nigeria. Well, he's still your INEC chairman to start with. And he was one of the observers in Ghana. I bet he himself possibly should have learned 1 or 2 things from Ghana as well, right? That when results are collated and announced at the polling unit level, they shouldn't be changed at the national level like he did by turning off your server. So the conversation in Nigeria now is that what are you going to do now that Ghana possibly is teaching you how election is done and why people standing, because they also have their own thought force in Ghana to start with. Yeah, they did have one. They have a candidate, which is from a device, the main candidate of the NPP, the Bawumai guy, right, from his constituency of Deraba, running to be president as well from his region. But the two main political parties were the ones who actually slugged it out eventually. However, there's also something I've seen the Nigerian supposed opposition discussing. Some are now saying that Obi and Atiku should merge, or they should come together. But what you are not telling yourselves, if you are one of those probably projecting that, is this. In Ghana, right, the opposition that won the election in Ghana, they did not project the kind of greedy criminals you have in the opposition in Nigeria. A situation whereby the PDP governors were working for Tifnumbu, APC, and they are openly working against your main candidate. I have seen some of them who are saying that the reason why Tifnumbu won was because Peter Obi left your PDP and he went to go and contest in another party, forgetting the fact that your PDP is so fractured, is so broken, that there was no chance whatsoever for your Atiku, by all means. With a wicked that broke your party into pieces, it's not even taking any blame. I have seen the SPV boys, the special purpose vehicle boys, Atiku's lackeys, all those guys who are like pay for play guys. You know the meaning of pay for play. These are the guys that if you pay them money, they will sing your praises. If the money is not coming, then they will walk away and go to another person who is ready to pay them. SPV boys. Those ones who are busy attacking Peter Obi, but ignoring the PDP governors who actually worked against your party. And one of them, Were Wike, is the minister right now under Tifnumbu as a compensation, right? So if you are looking for an opposition to come together, is it going to be inside that same your PDP? Where greed is your currency, where selfishness, self-centeredness is your currency. And then whoever is ready to pay the most is going to be your Lord and Savior. Atiku paid and bought some of you's loyalists, not because you have any patriotism in you, not because you have any loyalists to even your own party. That is not what they have in Ghana. The opposition in Ghana, right? They identified their real enemies, the political enemies, which is the APC. So pulling themselves together to ensure that, the NPP rather, pulling themselves together to ensure that everything NPP is rejected, including their bribes, including their money. How about a lot of you begin to tell yourselves this truth, that out of 16 or 15 PDP governors, you have about 8 or 10 of them working secretly for Tifnumbu for APC. So if you are going to do any coalition, like if you want to come together to come and fight Tifnumbu, as much as some of you, the obedient, don't even really, you are mostly like naive when it comes to politics, that Nigerian politics per se. Some of you are just like a newbies, they will say. So if you want to come together, you want to come together in a political party that is so compromised, so corrupt, And the people therein are so self-centered that half of them are actually working for Tifnumbu. They'll play you again. That is guaranteed. But Mo will leave that one for now. Go to something else. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to realize that, yes, it's been identified that the kidnapping of Dele Farotimi, the kidnapping of Dele Farotimi by this crooked old lawyer, Afe Babalola, they released a statement just yesterday by saying that Dele Farotimi's book has destroyed the reputation of Afe Babalola. And we are grateful to the publication of Dele Farotimi's book, which has helped us to further dig into the corrupt criminal reputation of this man. So in their own press statement, they said Dele Farotimi's book is falsehood, and it has destroyed the reputation of that old man. However, this book was published and released to the public as far back as May 2024. This is like about 7 months ago. So what people are asking now is that why now? Why are they all triggered now? And if Afe Babalola had any reputation at all, how come he waited 7 months to look into, I mean, before he started this lawfare, this action? Well, that's a question that we probably would never get answer to. However, there is this hand of Jacob, I mean, voice of Jacob, hand of Esau in the whole thing. But they've started shooting themselves on the foot as well. To start with, when they kidnapped Dele Farotimi from Lagos and took him to Ekiti, the intention then was that they will use defamation or, in fact, they actually filed a case. The commissioner of police in Ekiti filed a case that he called the defamation of character. And it was meant to be a criminal case. However, in Nigeria, in Ekiti State, in 2021, they have repealed that colonial law of defamation or libel. It is no longer a crime in Ekiti to sue anybody for defamation. Is pretty much like a civil case, right? So I think when they realized that, oh, this was a civil case, so you know what we are going to do? We need to hijack that. So they hijacked that from the federal by using the penal code, Nigeria's criminal code or something. And that also itself is another wrong move. These were supposed to be legal luminaries, as they love to call themselves. They are legal luminary. Dele Farotimi did his homework so well that these guys are now playing into his hands. Number one, a magistrate court. Listen to this. They said a magistrate court is a state court. And if you want to try somebody with a federal penal code, like a criminal act like that, it is not enacted by the state. It is enacted by the federal, which means a magistrate court can't try Dele Farotimi for defamation to start with. And then even if you have to kind of like want to try him for defamation, you would not try him for criminal defamation, which means it is a bailable offense that shouldn't have been a custodian offense. But since we know that the intention is not really to try the law, like Dele Farotimi broke any law. It didn't break any law. he bruised the ego of an old man, an old criminal, 94-year-old criminal who has been, who has been hiding under the flawed criminal judiciary of Nigeria, where people like him have been helping to shape the corruption in the Nigerian judiciary. So Dele Farotimi said his book took him 11 years to write. 11 years in detail. Now you see what you have on your screen here is a section of a WikiLeaks wire, like it was one American ambassador to Nigeria back then who was sharing with us the role played by this old man and his law firm in helping to bribe judiciaries. I'm sorry, bribe judges in Nigeria during the during the tribunal cases of election tribunal cases under Obasanjo. You know, he's an Obasanjo's lawyer. He made so much money. There was one of those payments where Obasanjo paid him 250 million naira. Guess what? Back then, if you use the exchange rates of that money of that era, 2004, 2005, when Obasanjo paid him over 250 million naira just to help him incorporate a company. If you use the exchange rate of that time, that money was like over 200 million, over 20 million dollars at the time. This was money paid to register a company that was, the registration was just about 1,500 naira or 2,000 naira at the time. Obasanjo used him severally for different money laundering, so to say. Not just that, Obasanjo used him and some other lawyers in Nigeria to bribe judges. This is what Dele Farotimi wrote in his book, that has triggered these guys to kidnap him. But here is the thing. They can't try him for criminal defamation. There is a Supreme Court, listen to this, so there is a Supreme Court judgment in that regard in the past, where the Supreme Court ruled that there are two people are having any sort of disagreement or skirmishes or what have you, and then one feels slandered or libeled, that they should never use the police, and they should never allow anybody to just use the judiciary to to incarcerate their supposed opponents in this manner. So there was a case quoted where, as usual, the powerful in Nigeria who felt like they could use the judiciary to jail anybody they considered as an enemy, so to say, right? And use the legal process to say, okay, he insulted me or he wrote something about me, and what he wrote about me is not true. So therefore, I want him jailed. So they go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that this is like somebody sitting in their bedroom, right? And then deciding, using the judiciary, deciding who should go to jail without a real or recourse to the law, not using the law. Because as it stands, right, there is no law in Nigeria right now that can put Dele Farotimi in prison for defamation. In fact, they said that the onus to prove that what Dele Farotimi said in his book, that they are not true and libelous, lies on Babalola and then his gang of those who are like behind this whole charade. They are the ones to come to court and prove that everything Dele wrote they are not true. It is not even for Dele Farotimi to prove anything to anybody that what I have written is true or is not true. It's not up to him. They are the one who have to kind of, and they don't want to do that. And that is why when you look at their case in Ekiti, it is Commissioner of Police versus Dele Farotimi. When they realize that that's like, this one don't make any sense. So, you know what? Let's make it a federal one, because the criminal code or whatever, Nigerian criminal code that they want to use to criminalize this, what they call the defamation, is a federal law. It's not state law. Ekiti has no law on defamation or libel at all. And the magistrate court is a state court, which means you have to go and open the book, the law of Ekiti. And when they check, when we check that, right, defamation is not a criminal offense. Libel is not a criminal offense, which means, number one, the moment they accept the fact that they are using their power, their influence in the judiciary to lock him up, right? There is no law that says Dele Farotimi should be in any custody at all in Ekiti. So Baba, that is supposed to be a legal luminary, should have known that. Maybe he actually did know that, but because he's had that influence enough that he could tell all of them to turn the law on his head in his favor, which has been his character all his life. Now that they have realized that, he didn't put his name on the charge sheet to say, okay, I am suing you, because that's what should have happened. I am suing you, Dele Farotimi, for what you wrote about me. So, and that would be like a civil case, sort of a civil case, which the court will now have to listen to both sides for as long as it takes. So that's why he turned it into the police versus Dele Farotimi. So police is now fighting a private individual's case with another private citizen versus private citizen. So police is taking that charge. Now that they know that that's going to probably fall apart, that's when the police IG comes in. Now the police IG, they said the police IG own is even more ridiculous, because police IG is now trying to create an offense to back a case by saying, okay, what your book has caused a citizen, a private citizen, some discomfort. The private citizen is not suing Dele. It is the police IG that is now like, okay, what you wrote has caused this private citizen discomfort, and therefore we are criminalizing it, that you are bullying him, cyber bullying. How could a book, a written book, that you said is defamation, become a cyber bullying and cyber stalking and harassment? So their own is even more ridiculous. But they found out that the Ekiti's case is pure hogwash. Sure, you get. So that's why they wanted to make it a federal one tomorrow. So yeah, somebody is asking me, when are we going to read the book? I'm going to take the delivery of mine tomorrow. If you have bought yours, just keep it close. Tomorrow, we are going to read more on that. In fact, we are going to read everything inside that book to the rest of the world. Did you have something to say about this? You see, there is a chance that, there is an evidence now that this Babalola and his gang, they are a bunch of cowards. They can't really actually take Dele Farotimi to court. And that is why it has now become Tifnumbu versus Dele Farotimi. Tifnumbu controls the police, and therefore he controls the police IG too. So, which means the office of the Attorney General of Nigeria plus the police IG, they are now the ones charging Dele Farotimi for criminal defamation. Ridiculous, yeah? The intention is not to really charge him or take him to court per se. The intention is to get him locked up. He has stepped on their toes, right? And because they are little men, they feel so kind of like so little, so to say, because they are little men, right? And they are hiding behind a penal code that doesn't really exist to lock a lawyer up in this instance. Did you have something to say about that, though? Listen.
Just this month, we witnessed the arrest and detention of Fisayo Soyombo, the veteran journalist who uncovers, corrupt activities in government. He was working